All right, everybody, welcome back to another the Not So Fashion Talk Show. Today I have a very special guest, Gregorio. I don't even know, but I know that our path crosses throughout Reddit, and I think it was like 2 years ago, and then you sent me a message the other day. It's like, hey man, and then we started talking, and now I'm gonna interview you on my talk show. So that's a pretty cool story. I got goosebumps just by talking it because it's like it came out of nowhere, but it was kind of like two punks recognizing each other, and it was kind of cool. So welcome. Um,
Thank you so much, Richard. It is really cool, isn't it?
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I felt like often I'm drowning in life, and then sometimes I try to connect with people from my past, and it often doesn't work out because of whatever reason. But then sometimes I find that there's people I had contact with, and we just didn't continue, or for whatever reason something happened, and then I reach out to those people, and something magical happens. And I'm grateful for that because it's the result of the effort that I've always put in to make things happen, to make things better. So thank you for having me and for responding and for doing this right now.
Oh man, thank you. I appreciate it because I'm all about healing and stuff like that. And I went through a lot of stuff, but a lot of my stuff, I don't know. Like sometimes I can relate with people. Sometimes people have way harder things, but in the end, I think it's how things happen, and it's what like what it really matters, and what you do about it, what really matters. Like so. Yeah, and you wrote a book that it's like, I think the title says it all: surviving the impossible. I just ordered the book. I haven't received yet, but I just ordered it, and I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool, huh?
I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah, I'm not certain if it was the right idea to name the book after myself. I thought it was maybe a 90% bad idea, but and possibly a great idea. So I like those odds because, well, the rest of the book is called Guide to Surviving the Impossible. So I figured, why the heck not? Do what I want, do what makes me happy. And anyone who doesn't like it can, you know what. So that's why it's called the Craig Lewis Guide to Surviving the Impossible. Even though I don't like my name, Craig Lewis, and here in Mexico where I live, and as you've addressed me, my name's Gregorio.
Okay. Yeah, I had a hard time. Like I must say, I had two things that I can relate with you already. One, it's the book title. Like when I came out with my book, like I kind of, it's like, okay, you know what? It came out of spite. I just gonna say what I always thought about it, and I just gonna put it out. And then I was like, wait, but people might take this wrong, and I'm still today. I don't know if the the title is a good thing or not, but it is what it is. But also the part of like putting it out there and all of that stuff, it's also a thing, like that you kind of go through.
I figured that since I have a long history with lots of people, and not all that history is very pleasant, that why not just like brutally and directly address the the elephant in the room and say, yeah, when you're Googling me, because I know people do that sometimes, let me make it as easy as can be. But there's just one catch. If you really want to know, like, you got to go to a website, order the book.
Yeah.
That's so it seems that it's the 10% gamble that I made ultimately is going to work out because it's crazy. I mean, I know that, but that's my thing. That's what's up. I think it's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I kind of gamble a lot in life, and it worked out. And gambling, I say it's like trust for me. It's trusting my intuition. Because sometimes it's like you have like I got to a point in life that I had nothing, and all I could trust was my intuition, and that's when I kind of became a player on the game of life.
I've done something similar, and I'm kicking ass in the game of life, even considering all that I had to go through to get here. And the funny thing about that and what you just said as well about the gamble, the like trusting yourself gamble, is I have a therapist. She's been my therapist for a very long time with a break in the middle. And sometimes she'll say to me, well, she'll call me by my English name. She'll say, Craig, you know, you might want to think about the consequences of what you're talking about. And I say, hey, you've known me for long enough, and you know me well enough to know that I've always done whatever the heck I wanted. And it got me to this point right now, and I'm doing pretty great. So that's what I'm going to do. And then she says, well, as long as you're willing to accept the consequences of whatever happens, and I say, come on, let's do this. Let's rock and roll. And so that's the gamble. It seems to always
Yeah,
work out. It seems to always work out.
it's crazy because you get to a point that you're like, fuck it, I just gonna do it. And like, and for me, it was always like I was always trusting my heart. So it was nothing like never like harmless. It could be harmless to me because I could lost everything, but it's like kind of freaking crazy, but things usually work out. It's nuts.
That's why I wrote this book, because because I did lose everything, but obviously I didn't. In American English, we say we speak, as you know, people who speak American English speak in absolutes. We say always, never. Like it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. Uh, I don't know. I can't give other good examples right now because I've been far away from there for a long time. But we talk in these absolutes. So when we say I lost everything, but when I say I lost everything, I didn't. I'm just speaking like a person who has grown up speaking American English. When we talk in absolutes, I didn't lose everything. I lost all my stuff, my
Yes.
my possessions, if you will. They're still mostly sitting in a storage space, not all of it. My friends, I don't want to say I lost them because some of them, they're still in my life, right? But a lot of
Yeah.
them are just no more friends, not friends anymore. A lot of people just, a lot of friendships ended really brutally. And my connections to so many things that mattered to me are gone. So yeah, I lost everything except I landed on my feet, and I need to change how I think. And if I change how I think, then that affects how I feel. So yeah, in certain conversations, I can come out and say, like, yeah, I lost all my stuff. I lost everything. And you get that. I mean, to whatever degree a person can. However,
Yeah.
did I really lose everything? I mean, I live in Mexico now. I have an apartment. I have a cat. Two of them. I made art. Like, I have friends. I have a life. And I have my history behind me. Like, I have all these flyers from events I've done all around the world, sharing with my experience that got me to this place in time. So I didn't lose everything. It was just a thing that happened, and here we are.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
that's it.
I think the fact that you have yourself is the fact that you didn't lose everything. And I think it's just like you said, the mentality is like, oh, if I change the way I think, because I still have myself, so I technically didn't lose everything, and so on and so forth. But
We all, well, you didn't grow up in the United States, right? You grew up somewhere else.
yeah, I grew up in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Yes.
So you know a lot about. I mean, I grew up in Boston, and I live in Salt Lake, Mexico City now. So you know a lot about the different life, at least a little
Yeah.
bit. You know how
Yes.
different how we are, how like people who are indoctrinated at a young enough age as an immigrant or people who grew up in the United States, we are a certain way that's different than say how people our age are or whatever age you are in Brazil or in Mexico or other places south, because it's so different. you can't even fathom how different it is. But then you get here, I don't know what your experience is going to the United States, but I guess I'm just relating with the reality that that is hard. And I know
It
that.
is. Yeah. No. I actually, I lived in Brazil, then I lived in US, then I went back to Brazil, and then when I came back to US, because the truth is, like, when I had my crazy idea, I was thinking for a long time. I thought, like, well, which country I have better chances? And as an athlete, I had better chances in US than in Brazil. And when I came here, like in 6 months, I got a few sponsors, and in 6 months, and stuff that in 3 years in Brazil I never got like a penny. So I was like, to make a dream come true, I kind of had to pick my battles. But I know how hard it is. But my wife is from Brazil, so we kind of have a mixture of things. So it's kind of like, it's in a, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little bit different in terms of on that term, I think. So
I meet a lot of people who are Mexican, who are living in the United States and then who were deported back. And if they were in the United States for a period of time that it affected them, that it changed them, I relate with them in a different way than I relate with people who are my friends here in Mexico who never lived in the United States. It's a very interesting phenomenon. I recognize all these strange things about my relationships. But to my point, or to your point, I live here because I didn't have any opportunities there. And so that's why we're talking now. So that's what really, that's what matters.
So you went to Mexico because of opportunities?
Or it would be more easy to say, or more clear to say, because of a lack of opportunities in the United States. Yeah, I would say it that way.
Okay.
A lack of opportunities, yeah.
And then how you like Mexico City, like comparing to where you grew up, like how you feel now? And
I'm happy here.
yeah,
I've had a really hard time learning Spanish. I recognize I have learning disabilities. I knew that. I always knew that. But this time it's different for some other reasons as well. I've had a really hard time with that, but every day I get better, I'm very happy to be where I am. I have lots of people who know me and who care about me. And even if they can't speak with me very, very well, they know my energy, they know my character, they care about me. I care about them. I have 2 cats who adopted me, people who I love and who love me. And the food is incredible. I live in a very special place with like ancient history, and I'm blessed.
yeah.
I
With
know.
ancient history, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I don't really say where I am because I had some challenges back in the United States.
That's
But
fine.
yeah, I'm in a mystical place, a heart of culture, that's been historical in the history of this country, going back long before the Spanish came, with roots and foundations of society going back thousands of years. And the energy of where I live, the beautiful ear, you can tell where you are. You're in a special place where at least I feel safe, especially as a person from somewhere where he did not feel safe. I, in fact, feel safer almost anywhere else in the world than I do in the United States. And so, for specific reasons, I feel especially safe here. But in general, I am living in a paradise that allows me to thrive and heal and cope and create. And yeah, Mexico saved my life, and I know that. So I live that with respect and loyalty for that gift. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome to hear. And it's as you were talking, the first thing that came in my mind was the famous writer. I think he's Mexican, Don Luis, maybe. He wrote the Four Agreements. I don't know if you ever read that book, but which is an amazing book. Anybody that if you have the chance to read, and you know, like I all I can think of, I went to Mexico before, and I went to just the regular tourist stuff, but on Chichen Itza, I think. But it's like it's a regular tourist stuff, and man, like you can feel the energy in that place. Like you can, it's amazing. Like the architecture and every single aspect of their culture. It's like amazing, you know.
This is a unique place. It's this entire country with all the problems it has, and they're real, is also a magical place. It's something that I can hardly describe.
Yeah. And how did that change you? Like, what was, you know, like, can you talk a little bit of that, of this connection that you have with this place, and how actually music influenced you, since we're all talking about punk rock here. So
I've always been obsessed with punk music from around the world. And so going back to the 90s when I was writing fanzines and trading tapes, I made contacts, some of whom like persist to this day. So I have several people I was in contact with in the 90s that I was writing to before I ever met them, or before I ever even thought I would ever go to Mexico in the first place, who I still know now. So I have roots, like underground punk DIY roots with some people going back 25 years.
wow, yeah.
Real special thing. Not everyone has that when you come to and I do. So I've had people who have known me for decades, even if we never met until more recently, or still have not met.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm a punk rocker, but I don't know that many punk rockers where I live, because there are not that many, because I live in a little isolated pueblo. But I have many friends in the city nearby, and then in Mexico City, and then all over the country. Excuse me. But it's my connection to punk rock that initially got me to come here, because a good friend of mine, knowing I was struggling, said to me, Craig, come to where you're wanted. And that was the truth. They said that to me, and I said, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did, and it was the right thing to do. So I live in Mexico because a punk rocker who I've known for 20 plus years or so,
Wow.
said, knowing I was miserable, come to where you're wanted, and I did.
That is awesome, man. That's an awesome story. And like I think punk rock, it's exactly that, man. It's a lot more. People think it's chaos, but it's actually well organized inside, and the community, it's very, very strong. Like one thing I can like just reflect the idea of punk rock. It's like I went to see Pennywise. You probably like Pennywise, right?
I know who they are, yeah.
Yeah. So I went to watch Pennywise, and like there was two bands opening, and one of the first bands that didn't have a whole lot of people, like, but the kid was playing and the mom was watching. So the mom was recording, and the mosh pit just kind of broke out. And then one of the guys, like the biggest guy on the mosh pit, he stand next to the lady like that, and nobody touched the lady, because you know the guy was like, "Hey, the lady's here. The kid is playing. She's doing videos to the kid. You know, not a big deal. Let's just protect the lady." But that's what punk rock for me it is. You know, like it's exactly like you said. The guy will say the right thing at the right moment, and you know, just say like, I think it's a
Exactly.
lot about the community.
And that's how I live in general. You do the right thing in the moment if you can, because you know the value of doing so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how people here know me. I've done a lot of that because it's just what you do. I'm not a tourist. I'm like, this is my home, and so you have to
Exactly.
treat it like there's someone that is worthy of love. Try to be kind. Try to be nice. Do something. Be. You're a guest. Show them that you are grateful, that you are with them, that you want to be here, that you want to be part of something. It's I've had a chance to a second chance on life, and not everyone gets that.
No,
So
no, not everybody. That's exactly the way I feel too. Like when I was like lost and I had all I had was a dream, pretty much. Like we said, I didn't lose everything, but but it feels like all I had was a dream. It's kind of like uh, 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 things change, and like you start seeing things like completely different. And things start like falling into places, and you're like, oh my god, that's definitely like a second chance. It's like a rebirth. It's like for me in 2020 I launched my first song, from my trauma as a kid. I launched my first song at 40 years old, and I was like, man, this is like the greatest thing ever. I mean, people might not even like the song, but it's just the greatest thing ever, man. Of putting it out there and actually doing it. And I think it reflects on everybody.
I looked at your website, as I told you prior to our call. You're doing something so unique and authentic. I'm 47 years old. I moved here 2.5 years ago. I lived in the United States for nearly the entirety of my life. So I recognized when I was trying to figure out like what you were all about and what you were doing and who you were and what your show was about, I realized how old school you are, and you're and like not about music, because that's irrelevant, about something else, about an attitude, like a liberation attitude, like a I'm gonna do whatever I want attitude, like a I'm an individual and I'm gonna do exactly what I want. I'm not gonna hurt anyone else, but screw you if you don't like it. That's how your website and you come across. So
Well, that's the idea.
it's perfect for someone like me to look at it and said, okay, I'm talking to a real crazy person. This is gonna be just fine. Yeah, I said that with respect. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So you lived there like 2.5 years only.
Yeah.
Oh
Or
wow! I thought I like as you were talking, I'm thinking like you lived there for like 10 years already or so, or like I don't know.
no, dude, I arrived here in May of 2019 with just a small backpack and some torn clothes on my body.
Wow.
Yeah, I've had a hard time. I've had a hard time. Yeah.
Wow, that's something else, man. I know because when I left the boat, I worked on for Royal Caribbean once because I didn't. I mean, it was crazy. I was about to get married. I needed money, and I had a dream, and I was totally lost. But I arrived in Florida with 2 bags too, man. And it's like, okay, what am I gonna do now? So you arrived there like May 2019, and then what? Well, you just like, let me just go to the world.
I I went. I have my house. I'm living in the same house I lived in since I got here, and I went to Europe for a couple months for work, and then I went to Central America for 3 weeks to travel and to give presentations. And then the pandemic came, and I've been here ever since. And I spent nearly a year in the isolated pueblo that I live in, which is not like a city. It's different. You have to put in time, effort, and drive to get here. So I was locked in a place where it was hard to leave. There was really nowhere to go for a year with people
Wow.
who were mostly indigenous or people who had long standing histories here with no tourists, and a lot of the foreigners left. So every single day, I did the same thing: get up, do whatever, go out at some point, walk to the mercado, eat lunch at one of like the 30 different restaurants to choose from, walk around, say hello, converse, look at menus, talk to people, buy stuff. That's what I did day in, day out, day in, day out. I've been doing that for a very long time now. So that's how I ended up like this.
That's awesome, man. And like, I mean, I can see through your facial expression and energy that you having the time of your life, man.
Yeah, I'm actually, thanks for saying that, because I'm trying to recognize that I actually am. And I forget. I have severe trauma history. I forget that I'm not, I forget that everything's not already great.
Yeah, I was going to say that the hardest thing for me to realize both times, because I'm doing something else now, but the first time that I actually did the Ironman stuff, uh, it, it takes you a while to realize that you are actually living the dream. Like when you overcome something uh, that big, and then sometimes you're like, am I, is this for real? And then you kind of like pinching yourself like, oh, okay, it is. And then you kind of come down, but
So what you just said, brother, was like that realization that when you know about yourself, that you've conquered something and you own it. But as you were saying it, I realized I only told you like a tiny bit of what resulted in it's all happening. And excuse me, I thought it'd be cool if I read a passage from this book here, The Guide to
definitely.
Survival. Excuse me. So you can know exactly what I'm talking about, that I'm saying what I'm saying for a reason. Yeah, you want to do that?
Yes, go for it, man. Be my guest, literally, to my talk show. It's your chance, man, to put it out. And I actually gonna say, and I say to every video, usually my subscribers here, they have a tendency to, we record it live because I like it this way. I'm old school, I'm raw, I like it live and all of that. But I think it's also, like they have a tendency to check it out later. So here, man, it's your, and it's gonna be out there. And later on the description, I'm gonna put the website of where you can get the book. And I hope you can sell a lot of those books, because it's your word, it's your soul there. Like the shirt that I bought it from you, clear your head, clear your soul, man. That's what it's all about. So
All right, brother. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for this. All right. So this is called a self-love poem. The most magnificent of all human creatures is you. If you were taught differently, you were taught wrong. There is nothing wrong with your spirit that you cannot heal. If you were told differently, you were lied to. You were born to do good in the world. Oh, yes, you were. Every fucked up thing that happened to you happened to teach you the true meaning of love. I know that's harsh, and I know it may hurt, and maybe, just maybe, it's true. You're a different person than people think you are. Oh, you don't believe me? Ah, yes, you do. I prefer people whose lives burn to the ground. I prefer the crazies because we're the best people on earth. Did they call you crazy? I hope so. I call you beautiful. Because if you are, or if they said you are, or were, and you're reading this, or you're hearing this, then you survived. You are a miracle. You are made of steel, yet your heart is pure. You, the person reading this, you, the person hearing this, you are a miracle. Do you know that? I beg of you to pay attention to who you're talking to. You are a beautiful miracle. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to you? I don't care what you did or what was done to you. Right here, right now, you are alive. You survived, and you are a miracle. I know what beauty is, and it's called love. Your broken heart can heal. Just believe it's true, and it becomes true. If you feel terrible inside, it's for a reason. Something hurt you in your life, and you have it within yourself to heal. And I don't care what they said about you. They said the same or worse about me. This is a love song to myself and for anyone else who needs to know that they matter. I love you.
wow, that's all I need to do, man. I think you put it in perfectly, perfectly. Because like I can speak for myself. I felt worthless many a times, worthless of love or of everything, man. It's like, and you gotta find it within yourself. And as you were reading, the first song I thought about and I wrote in my blog about my son actually is from Ramones. I believe in miracles because I'm one. And uh, sometimes I look back at my life and I honestly think like I don't know how I did it, but I'm here, man. So, and I think you have the same feeling that I do. And
And I know a little bit about your life because I've been finding out you have been through so much and you are rising up like a king. Like we have to, but just because we have to doesn't mean we do it. Lots of people out there don't. Like
yes,
don't,
yeah,
but we have to. So what happens if you have to do something you don't do it? It's not gonna life's not gonna work out the way you deserve it to, no matter what happens.
yeah,
So when you've made the decision to do it and you do it, no matter what happens along the way, you just wake up the next day, no matter how much it hurts or whatever thoughts are inside your head that you don't want to think about because you can't get rid of them. I'm speaking for myself at least.
yeah,
And then you just do it. And that's the magic as far as I know. That's
yeah,
what I know. The magic is right there. The magic is in the decision,
yes,
not the choice to do it.
yeah. We all got choices, and at one point that choices it's presented to you, and I think like when you listen to your soul, when you listen to your heart, it's always the right choice. Uh, but it's not an easy thing. Let's be honest, and we need to be proud of ourselves right now because to do what we did, it's not an easy thing, man. I talked to some friends of mine and stuff like that, and they all say like, "I'm not ready because it's hard." So my question for you would be like, what if somebody tells you like, "I'm not ready because it's hard"? Well, what would you say to that person?
Well, I'm not going to push them.
No, obviously, but what would you say like? Because it's hard. I'm saying from your experience.
I would usually say to them, well, your suffering is going to continue. And then at some point, you're going to decide you're going to do something about it or you're not. And if you don't do something about it, your suffering is going to continue. And if you do something about it, your suffering is going to continue. However, if you do something about it, you'll learn how to live a beautiful life in defiance of whatever it is that caused that suffering, which then results in you having more peace in your heart, which over time reduces that suffering, even as there's likely significant reasons why you've been suffering in the first place.
Yeah,
That's recovery. That's the process of going through it and doing what you need to do to be okay and make things better and find moments of beauty and joy and peace and recognizing that you did that yourself by
yeah,
choosing to do it differently, by choosing to do the work, by choosing to like look inside yourself to figure out what it is that I have to do to be better. And what does better mean? Why am I not the way I want to be? And what happened? And how do I figure that out? What do I do about it? And that's what this book is about because that's what I live. That's what I have to
that's
do.
awesome, man. Is that what I as you were thinking, I was as you were saying, I was thinking. It's like because I'm reading Johnny Rotten, Anger is an Energy, and you said like rising and stuff, and I think a lot of the times like when you're traumatized and you don't even realize, and when you start realizing, you get angry, but angry is an energy, and you're doing exactly what he says in a book, and exactly the same thing I did it. You get that energy and you be creative with it. And it's such a beautiful and strong energy that you can create things, you know. You can create art, you can create music, you can create, a book, you can create poetry like this amazing poetry you just read.
You can create magic and make things happen out of thin air.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's a flip side of that coin. If you can do all of what you just said, then you also can do the most terrible and hurtful and worst versions of that. Because if you have the power to do one thing, then you
have
have
the power to do another thing.
And maybe you know a little bit about this, but it's definitely part of the journey. When you get to that point where, we can just say, like, we can identify with the quote, "I lost everything," whatever that means, it means, right?
Yeah.
When you get to that point, you usually have been hurt in such a way or to such a degree, then you could just be that evil person that you never wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. And it can be in a split second.
Yeah, but what do you want? Like what is your why are you alive? Why were you born? Like what are those? What's the answer to this whole question of you? Like, you think you're just a fucked up human being because that's how you are? No, that's absolutely not how it works.
Yeah.
You might have been told that, but that's bullshit. Like, why are you the way you are? Why are things the way they are? Like, you can blame yourself, society can blame you, psychiatry can blame you, your family can blame you, but you didn't do that by yourself. You became that. Yeah. Maybe by your choices in part, but by the realities that you were forced into for whatever reasons. That means if that is true, and it is with everybody, then you still have it within you to, like, go back to figure out who you were, or who you would be when you were born. If nothing else ever happened to you that was painful or debilitating or like harmful or traumatizing, you still are a person. Humans cannot take that away from you. They can try, but you have the choice, because you have this creature who can use their brain and their heart to make a decision. Well, what do you want? Who do you want to be? And if you decided that you want to be the version of you that you would have been if none of this shit ever happened to you, then you can do that. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. You're going to suffer a lot, but you're going to have periods of beauty, moments of joy that no amount of money could ever pay for. And those eclipse, and not to use the word, but they trump every fucked up thing that ever happened to you. That moment, that decision, that beauty. And I know that's true. And I think you do too.
Yeah, I do too. And it's like you said, like, you can go both ways and you can choose. And I think a lot of people sometimes get lost because technically anger is a very strong energy, but if you just channel it to creating something different. And I think that's what punk rock always is about. Is like, let's create something different. Let's create something new. And it's out of that pain that you are having, you can create something new, and you can, like, fly like a butterfly. You
really can.
Yeah.
And in the past 2 years, the world has told us a lot of things about, well, we've just been told a lot of different things. We see our societies around us caving in and fracturing, and social dissent between similarly minded peoples, and all this manipulation. And, well, it's kind of like we're all living in a mental hospital now.
Yes. I actually wrote in my blog, like, it's a depressive world, and everybody's so traumatized that, like, we all reacting without even, like, understanding what's going on. And one day I made it fun with the AC/DC song. It's like living in a human zoo. Is a bunch of souls in a cage that, like, they're suffering, but they don't know how to get out, uh, in a way, or they're afraid. I don't know. When I was traumatized, every time I think about my trauma, I'm always like afraid. And when I'm afraid, I'm paralyzed. I can't do the stuff that I really want to do. So it's kind of like, that's how I kind of saw it. It's like, but
Well, I have a couple comments. First, human zoos actually existed in Belgium. That's the fact that we are in a reality of in the past few years, it was people who could describe their experiences as being caged like that. That's a real thing. That really happened.
yeah,
It feels to me like it's a 6 billion person mental hospital, and the rest of us already survived.
yeah. I hope you're right.
Well, I'm not one of the 6 billion.
What?
I'm not one of the 6 billion. I'm one of the rest of us who survived
So
already.
survived.
So
Yeah. Yeah, no, 2020, at least for me, man, it was very, very strong year energetically wise, and it was crazy. 2021 was a little crazier, but it is what it is. But now I'm learning about all of this, and I'm trying to tune in and kind of just feel the healing energy and going with it.
you know what? I think things are going to get a lot better for some people. I'm not talking about the financial stuff going on, all the manipulating and all that, but
Yeah,
who've decided to be healthy, for the people who decided to be loving, to truly just take what's happening and smile.
yeah,
Not to minimize the whole thing, but I'm going to do more of that. I feel good about
yeah,
that.
yeah. Me too. And I think that the energy is shifting the whole planet. So
You know what? I'm tired. I feel so
yeah,
tired right now. Yeah.
no, I think
Um,
I'm actually want to get your website, so people can actually find you, get your book, read those amazing poems. So please just suit yourself.
all right. Listen, the website is sanityisafulltimejob.org.
I, man, I gotta say I love it. I love it, and sanity. It is a full-time job. It's something that you gotta do every day religiously.
Oh, bad religiously.
Yeah,
The bad
bad
religion.
religiously. Yes, bad
Bad religion.
religion. Exactly. I say on my blog, it's like my religion from the get-go is already bad.
Sanityisafulltimejob.org. And then if you click on shop, then right, sanityisafulltimejob.org/collections/books. You'll find this book, the Craig Lewis Guide to Surviving the Impossible, and you'll find this other book called You're Crazy Volume 2. We're going to have to talk about this another time. But
Yeah,
20 first-hand accounts of people from around the world, punk rockers, sharing their lived experiences of coping with and surviving mental health challenges, addiction, trauma, and other life-impacting circumstances. And there's a Brazilian woman in here as well who wrote.
wow.
Yeah, so this is volume 2. And at that website, you'll find all sorts of other things that are cool, punk rock, and intended to help people feel better or make the world a better place. And I benefit as well from the sales, and that's helped me make a better life for myself after arriving here with, as we said, I lost everything. So I guess I didn't lose everything. Here we are. And
Yeah. Yes, we are here. You didn't lose everything, man. And amazing talking to you. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being honest and telling a little bit of your story. And I really hope your book sells. I actually gonna buy the other ones later on, so we can kind of go in. And if you have more books, you let me know. I can post on my social media accounts and all of that stuff. that's what I'm here for, also to help you guys out and get your art out.
You are great, and I'm so proud to be on your part of your community and on your website. And I look forward to sharing the really cool stuff that you're doing with the people I know around the world who appreciate it. That's going to be fun. Glad to help to do that with you. Do this with you.
I appreciate it, man. And it's mutual. Like we say in Portuguese, we are in this together. So
igualmente, like they say in Spanish.
Well, and I say Punkaste.
I always say, well, Sandy is a full-time job, brother. So I am this way anyways. You know what's funny? All the people around here who know me, who see me at the Mercado, always see this guy, this white guy, who can't really speak Spanish properly, wearing punk rock t-shirts and tattoos. Always, before I eat, I do my prayer, my gratitude. And I think that's in part how people got to be okay with me, because that's what I do every single time I sit down to eat. And people see that, as even if it doesn't make sense, because why? Well, there's a reason, and that's sense enough. So yeah, absolutely. Every day, I'm grateful, man.
It's funny because every time I say things, people look at it like, you're not that type of people that would say something like that. I'm like, no, I am. I'm very so. I appreciate it, man.
We'll talk very soon. Have a great day.
Get some rest. Have a great day.
Good night.
Good night.